Okay, yesterday we started learning the dinim of building a sukkah. We're discussing you have to be careful where you place the sukkah, if it's on stolen property or public property that you don't have permission to be there. So Vaad Din is to kosher the sukkah, but you can't make a leisha sukkah. Tonight I want to mention a number of dinim that apply very, very important to the building of a sukkah. Number one, there's a few halachos, which are basically halacha Moshe Sinai. I mean, it was given over to Moshe ben Har Sinai. There's no basis for it in actual chumash, but this was oral Torah. Something which there's a din called lavud. Lavud means if something is within 3 tvachim of something, it's considered as if they're connected. Okay, so something is within, let's just make it simple. Let's say 3 tvachim is 9 inches. Okay, let's say 3 inches of tefach. So if it's within 9 inches, like for instance, if you have a wall, and then you have another wall, but they're within 9 inches of each other, it's like they're connected. So you have like one long wall. Give you a simple practical example of that. What happens if you have around a building, you have a chain link fence. Okay? Now chain link fence, if you think about it, the mechitza has to be 10 tefachim high, 36 inches we discussed. But you have a lot of holes. So you don't have really a solid wall. How do you have a solid wall if there's more holes than metal in a chain link fence? The answer is that because the holes are less than 9 inches apart, it's considered as if the whole thing is one big closed up wall. Okay? So one thing that's very important to remember by Sukkah is lavud. Because
can you say it
in Farsi, no.
No, in Hebrew.
Lavud. Lavud.
Lavud.
Ken. What do you want me to do? I didn't write the language. Okay, next. So, take a seat. Now, therefore, if a wall is, let's say, 3 tvachim away from another wall, within 3 tvachim, less than 9 inches, so then it's considered you have a joint wall or whatever. Same thing when the schach is on top of the walls of the sukkah, so you have to make sure that technically that the schach touches the walls on the side, because if not, you have an open place. But if the schach comes within 9 inches of the wall, so then it's considered as if it's connected to the wall. Okay, that's one din. Another important din in Sukkah is what's called gud asik, which is another halacha Moshe Sinai. And that is, if somebody has a wall, okay, so let's say you have a wall that's 10 tefachim high. So let's say this phone is 36 inches. Now, let's say, I'll give you a simple example of this. You have a canvas sukkah, okay, which we'll talk about that, how you have to make it that it shouldn't be shaking around. But let's say you have a canvas sukkah. So let's say you have, the poles are 10 feet high. But the wall, the canvas, is only 8 feet high. Okay? So now, if you put the canvas all the way on the top of the sukkah, you're 2 feet without a wall at the bottom. That wouldn't be kosher, because again, the wall has to be within 3 tvachim of the ground. If you have a wall, and the wall is more than 9 inches off the ground, it's not halachically a wall for sukkah. So you have to make sure that the wall, so what do? So you have to put it lower, that it comes to the ground, and then you have a little bit of space on top. But as long as it's 10 tefachim, it's not a problem. Why isn't it a problem? Because there's a thing called gud asik. Gud asik means once you have a kosher wall, halachically the wall keeps going up. Halachically. It's an imaginary wall, but it's not an imaginary wall. It's a halachic wall. The wall keeps going up. So therefore, let's say the wall is 8 feet high, but the schach is on top, so it's 10 feet high. Right? So the schach is 10 feet off the ground, but the wall only goes up 8 feet off the ground. So then halacha is like this. if the schach is over the walls, that if the wall would keep going up, it would hit the schach, that's a kosher sukkah. So if you have a 10-foot frame, an 8-foot canvas, let's say, so you have to make sure that the canvas is touching the bottom, because that would invalidate the sukkah if it's 9 inches off the ground. But as far as the wall doesn't have to hit the schach, as long as if the wall would keep going up, then you would be allowed, that would be a kosher wall. The same thing you have, by the way, in Hilchos Shabbos. I'll give you an example. What's a private domain? A private domain is something that has a wall 10 tefachim high, yeah? So let's say this is a building, and this is the roof. Okay, let's say there's a building, and this is the roof of the building. Now, you're allowed to carry in the building, but you have to make every chatzar, but you're allowed to carry in the building because it's a private domain. Now, we know that you're allowed to carry on the roof also. But the question is, how can you carry on the roof? The roof doesn't have any walls going up. The roof stops and then the wall goes down. There's no wall coming up. Why is the roof considered a private domain that you'd be allowed to carry on the roof? So the halachic answer to this is because you have the walls on the side. So once you have kosher walls on the side and they keep going up, so then if they keep going up, so then you do have walls around the roof, halachic walls around the roof. It's not imaginary walls, it's halachic real walls that are surrounding the roof, so then it wouldn't be a problem. What?
Is Budastic also B'diavad?
B'chlal it says in halacha, it's not b'diavad so much, but Chatchila says in halacha you should make a proper sukkah without good achas and good and deifin akuma, which I'll just talk about in a second, and good. You should make a sukkah that's properly done. But al pidin, again, this is very common by canvas sukkahs. The frame is higher up than the canvas. So what do? People have to remember though, you have to put it down even though the top is 2 feet empty, rather than 2 feet empty at the bottom. 2 feet empty at the bottom is not going to be a kosher sukkah.
But it's not within 9 inches.
Within 9 inches.
And it's still as if it's
Correct. But again, the best thing is to put the schach all the way to the wall. Now there's another din, which is also very important. And that's called, again, all these things are halacha mishnah. It's not in Chumash. It's oral tradition that Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu. And that is what's called deifin akuma. Deifin akuma literally means a crooked wall. That's what it means. So let's say in a practical case, this is your house, okay, this is your house, and here's your backyard where you're making the sukkah. Now you want to use the house wall as one of the walls of the sukkah, right? But the problem is, there's an overhang. There's an overhang, right, a ledge that goes down, let's say, 4 feet out. So the question is, obviously under the overhang you can't sit. It's not under kosher schach. It's not kosher schach. So you can't sit there. But the question is that house wall counted as a wall? That if I put schach all the way to the end of the overhang, I'd still be able to sit in that sukkah. Not under the overhang, but is the sukkah kosher? Is that house wall considered a wall? So the din is that if the overhang is less than dalet ames, 6 feet, okay, so let's say this is the house and this is the overhang. If the overhang is less than 6 feet, it's considered that the wall of the house moved to the end of the overhang. So therefore you can use the house wall as one of the walls of the sukkah. If it's 7 feet, then you can't use the house wall anymore as a wall because it's too far away. It has to be within 6 feet. Dalet amas.
Where does this number 6 come from?
6 feet is no. An amma is dalet amas.
So
An amma is 1.5 feet approximately. So that's where the cheshbon 6 feet, comes from. Yeah.
How many amot it should be?
less than 4.
Less than 4.
The overhang. If the overhang is less than 4, you can put schach all the way to the overhang, and then the house wall could be counted as one of the walls. If it's more than 4 amas, if it's more than 6 feet, then the house wall is not counted as a wall. So you have to figure out another wall, how to make the wall. So these are 3 very important dinim when it comes to building a sukkah. Number 1, you have lovud, it has to be within 9 inches. The wall, the schach, everything has to be within 9 inches. You can't have openings in the schach more than 9 inches. You have to, you have a din called good asik, that once you have a kosher mechitza, the kosher wall, it keeps going up, all the way up. And the third thing is daifin akuma, that if you want to use your house wall as a wall, and it has an overhang, then it would be good. Then it would be good as halacha mishimesina. Now again, it says in halacha lechatchila you should make a sukkah without any of these, halacha mishimesina. You should make it proper, 4 walls and everything properly. Okay, next. So the length and the width of the sukkah we discussed yesterday. Now, halachically we said yesterday that 3 walls is kosher. Or if you have 2.5 walls, or you have like the word samach chof hey, sukkah. Samach has 4 walls, chof has 3 walls, and hey has 2.5 walls. Discussed yesterday, those are the 3 possibilities for a sukkah to be a kosher sukkah. You also need to make sure that the walls are firm, that they stand firmly. If they blow around in the wind, in the natural average wind of the city where you are, it has to be in a way that it doesn't blow around. So let's say, according to all opinions, let's put it this way. Let's say you have a canvas sukkah, and you only tie it down on the top but not at the bottom. It's not tied at the bottom. And then a regular wind for this time of the year would come and move the wall back and forth. It's not a kosher sukkah. Many opinions say even if you tie it down at the bottom, you have to make sure it's securely fastened, that it doesn't blow in the wind too much, even in the middle.
Some opinions say if it's not tight, it still works.
If it's not tight, no. If it blows around in the wind, it's not kosher.
How much?
It's debatable in halacha.
How much?
It's debatable how much it could move. So it says in halacha, it says in Eitzah, what you do based on what we just explained. So let's say, again, the height of mechitza is 10 tvachim, right? So let's say 36 inches. So what you could do, let's say you have a shaky sukkah. You could take a board, 2x4, even smaller. Yeah, you could take a board, put it within 9 inches of the ground, then put another board within 9 inches of that, which is already 18 inches, and you do it again and again. So then you have the boards, because they're within 9 inches of each other, within gimel tvachim, so then halachically you have a solid wall that's not moving.
How about the rope? Can you do it with a rope or a thread?
You could do with a thread knot. With the rope, again, if you have a rope and you make sure it's within less than 9 inches off the ground, and then less than 9 inches again, less than 9 inches, less than 9 inches, yeah. But you only have to do it up to 36 inches, because then you have a kosher wall. Above that, it doesn't matter if it shakes.
What's wrong with this strong thread? The string?
A string would be fine.
Yeah.
You spend like a thread you sew buttons on.
No, not that.
No, if you have a good piece of rope, that would work also. In fact, they say that's an advice of how if you have a shaky sukkah, that's the best thing that you do, and then you don't have an issue.
If the bottom is 9 inches.
What?
You have 9 inches in the bottom, at one edge it goes up a little bit.
No, you have to make sure that wherever it is, it's less than 9 inches. Less than 9, not 9 inches, less than 9 inches.
If a portion of this is above, then all of the wall is in.
It depends how the walls are situated. Yeah. You have to be careful, Taka, when you build a sukkah, and if there's a hill or something, it's not a flat floor, it's a little, So you have to make sure that the whole sukkah is within 9 inches of the ground. Or else, but if it doesn't, because if you take a board and put it there, then you have it, it's like 9 inches already.